Welcome to the Podcast Lab, your go-to space for raw conversations, curious questions, and inspiring stories from around the world. Whether you're here to learn, laugh, or just listen in, this is where ideas take shape and voices come alive. Ready to dive into fresh perspectives and thought-provoking discussions? Let's get started. This is the Podcast Lab. Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
Ever feel like you're holding yourself back? Like there's this incredible potential just waiting to be unleashed.
Yeah.
But there's that voice, that inner critic, whispering doubts in your ear.
Yeah.
Well, get ready. We're diving deep into practical ways to quiet that critic and step into your power.
That sounds good.
You've shared some great resources with us. And together, I think we're going to uncover actionable techniques for managing self-doubt.
Right.
Strategies for turning fear into fuel.
Okay.
And get this, research suggests self-compassion can actually boost your resilience.
Wow.
And help you bounce back from setbacks faster. Now, that's what I call interesting.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We often think of self-criticism as a motivator, but studies are showing the opposite. That treating ourselves with kindness can actually make us more effective and successful in the long run.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole inner critic situation. Instead of picturing a negative roommate in our heads, what if we imagine it's like having a backseat driver who is constantly criticizing your every move?
Okay, yeah.
Even though they've never actually driven the car.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
It highlights how often our inner critic is operating from a place of fear and misinformation, not from a place of genuine helpfulness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our source material offers some powerful techniques to help us take back the wheel, so to speak.
Okay.
First up is self-compassion.
Okay.
It's so easy to fall into the trap of, I'm not good enough thinking.
Yeah.
But what if we challenge that with, I'm learning and growing, and that's okay?
Right.
It's about being kind to ourselves, even when we mess up.
What's fascinating here
Yeah.
is that self-compassion isn't about lowering our standards.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all works in progress and that being imperfect is part of the human experience. It's about treating ourselves with the same understanding and grace that we would offer a good friend.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
It's not about letting ourselves off the hook.
Right.
It's about creating a more supportive internal environment
Okay.
where we can learn and grow without being weighed down by constant self-judgment.
Right.
And, you know, speaking of self-judgment, our next technique is all about challenging those negative thoughts that love to hijack our brains.
Yeah.
It's like putting those thoughts on trial
Okay.
and asking, is there any real evidence to support this?
It's so powerful to start questioning those automatic negative thoughts.
Yeah.
We often accept them as truth without even realizing it.
Yeah.
But when we take a step back and examine them objectively, we can start to see how often they're based on distorted thinking.
Oh, wow.
Or outdated beliefs.
So true. It's like realizing that our inner critic is often operating on old software that needs an upgrade.
Yeah.
And one way to rewrite that software is by creating a wins journal. This is where we get to celebrate our accomplishments, big or small.
It's such a simple yet effective practice.
I know, right?
By taking a few minutes each day to acknowledge our wins and positive qualities, we're actively rewiring our brains to focus on the positive.
Right.
It's like building a muscle of self-appreciation.
Okay, so we've got these fantastic techniques for managing self-doubt.
Right.
But here's where things get even more interesting. Self-doubt often keeps us stuck in our comfort zones.
Yeah.
Preventing us from taking risks.
Right.
That could lead to incredible growth.
Yeah.
What if we could actually use those feelings of fear and uncertainty as fuel to propel us forward?
That's a brilliant reframing.
Right.
And it's absolutely possible. It's about shifting our perspective from seeing fear as an enemy to seeing it. It's like that feeling you get right before you go on a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
There's a mix of excitement and apprehension, but you know it's going to be an incredible ride.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the idea that fear and excitement can coexist.
Yeah.
And that often the things that scare us the most are also the things that have the greatest potential to transform us.
Right.
And our source material outlines some brilliant strategies for navigating those fear-inducing moments and turning them into opportunities for growth.
These strategies are all about building courage.
Right.
Not by eliminating fear, but by learning to act despite it. It's about developing a trust in ourselves and our ability to handle whatever challenges come our way.
First up is the idea of starting small and building up. It's like training for a marathon.
Right.
You wouldn't expect to run 26 miles on day one.
Right.
You'd start with shorter distance, gradually increasing the challenge as you build your stamina and confidence.
Exactly.
Right.
The same principle applies to courage. We can start by taking small, manageable risks, things that push us slightly outside our comfort zones, but don't feel completely overwhelming.
Right.
Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay silent, or sharing a creative project with a trusted friend even though you're afraid of judgment.
Those small acts of courage might seem insignificant at first, but they have a ripple effect.
Right.
Each time we choose courage over comfort, we're reinforcing a belief in ourselves and our ability to handle challenges. And over time, those small acts build up to create a powerful foundation of self-assurance.
It's like building a tower brick by brick.
Yeah.
Each small act of courage adds another layer of strength and stability to our foundation.
Our next strategy is visualization, which is such a powerful tool.
Oh, yeah.
When we're facing a challenge, it's easy to get caught up in imagining all the things that could go wrong.
Right.
But what if we consciously chose to visualize success instead?
Visualization is more than just positive thinking. It's about creating a vivid mental picture of ourselves achieving our goals. And research shows that this mental rehearsal can actually improve our performance in real life situations.
Wow.
Athletes use it all the time to prepare for competitions.
Right.
And it can be equally effective in helping us overcome self-doubt and achieve our goals in any area of life.
So instead of dwelling on those worst case scenarios, we can choose to create a mental movie where we're confidently crushing our goals. And feeling that incredible sense of accomplishment.
Right.
It's like giving our brains a preview of success and allowing ourselves to feel the positive emotions associated with it.
And those positive emotions are key because they can help counteract the fear and doubt that often hold us back.
Absolutely. It's like giving ourselves a pep talk and a boost of confidence all rolled into one. And our final strategy, and this one is so important, is embracing failure as feedback.
It's so easy to get caught up in the fear of failure. But what if we shifted our perspective and saw failure not as a setback, but as an essential part of the learning process? What if we embraced it as valuable feedback that can help us grow and improve?
It's about recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. And if we can reframe our thinking to see it that way, we'll be less afraid to take risks, try new things, and ultimately achieve our goals.
It's like that saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Mistakes and setbacks are inevitable. But they're also valuable opportunities for learning and growth.
I love that. It's about shifting our mindset from I failed to I learned something. And that shift can be incredibly empowering because it allows us to detach our self-worth from the outcome. And focus on the process of growth and improvement.
It's about becoming lifelong learners, constantly seeking new knowledge and skills, and embracing challenges as opportunities for growth.
So we've got these awesome techniques for managing self-doubt, strategies for turning fear into fuel, and a new perspective on failure. But sometimes hearing how others have navigated this journey can be incredibly inspiring.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you say?
It's a powerful reminder that we're not alone in this. Seeing how others have overcome self-doubt and achieved remarkable things can give us hope and a roadmap for our own journeys.
And our source material features some incredible stories from people who've done just that. They've silenced their inner critics, taken bold risks, and ultimately transformed their lives. And while their stories are unique, they all share some common threads that we can learn from and apply to our own lives.
I'm eager to dive into these stories. It's always fascinating to see how different people navigate the challenges of self-doubt and find their own paths to success.
So let's start with a story about a woman who spent years feeling stuck in a job that wasn't fulfilling her potential.
Okay.
She constantly second-guessed herself.
Yeah.
And doubted her abilities.
Right.
She had all these incredible ideas, but she was afraid to share them, afraid of being judged or rejected.
It's incredible how self-doubt
I know, right?
can keep us trapped in situations that no longer serve us.
Yeah.
It's like we build a cage around ourselves with our own fears and insecurities.
But this woman decided she didn't want to live in that cage anymore.
Good for her.
She wanted to break free.
Yeah.
And create a life that was aligned with her passions and her true potential.
Right.
And so she began by taking small, courageous steps. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect opportunity,
Right.
she started speaking up more in meetings, sharing her ideas, and volunteering for projects that challenged her to step outside her comfort zone.
It's such a powerful reminder that we don't have to wait for permission to shine.
Yeah.
We can start creating the changes we want to see in our lives right now, one small step at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as she took those small steps, something amazing happened.
Okay.
Her confidence grew.
Good.
She started to believe in herself and her abilities. And as her confidence blossomed,
Yeah.
so did her career.
Wow.
She eventually landed a leadership position that allowed her to use her talents to make a real difference.
It's a beautiful illustration of how courage and confidence build upon each other. Each act of courage strengthens our belief in ourselves, which in turn empowers us to take even bigger risks and achieve greater things.
And her story is a powerful testament to the fact that we all have the potential to create extraordinary lives.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for someone to give us permission.
Right.
Or for the perfect opportunity to arrive. It's about choosing to believe in ourselves and taking those courageous steps, no matter how small they may seem.
It's about reclaiming our power and stepping into the fullness of who we are meant to be.
I love that.
It's so inspiring to see someone break free from that self-doubt and step into their power.
It really is. And, it makes me think about how we often tell ourselves these stories about why we can't do something or why we're not good enough.
Yeah.
But what if those stories are just that, stories?
Right.
What if we could rewrite those narratives and create new, empowering beliefs about ourselves?
That's such a powerful concept. It's about recognizing that our thoughts and beliefs are not necessarily facts.
Right.
They're often just interpretations or assumptions that we've developed over time. And if those beliefs are holding us back, we have the power to challenge them and create new ones that support our growth and well-being.
It's like realizing that we're the authors of our own stories, and we have the power to edit and rewrite them whenever we choose.
Exactly. And sometimes all it takes is a shifting perspective, a new way of looking at things to unlock a whole new level of potential within ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about a woman who transformed her career by overcoming self-doubt.
Right.
Now let's hear about a musician who was paralyzed by stage fright for years.
Okay.
He had this incredible talent, but the thought of performing in front of others filled him with terror.
It's amazing how fear can hold us back from sharing our gifts with the world.
Yeah.
It's like we're hiding a treasure that we're afraid to unveil.
And for this musician, that fear was so intense that it kept him from pursuing his passion for years.
Oh, wow.
But deep down, he knew he couldn't let fear dictate his life.
Yeah.
He wanted to share his music with the world. He wanted to connect with others through his art.
Right.
And so he decided to face his fear head on.
Okay.
Instead of trying to eliminate it, he decided to learn to play with it, to dance with it.
That's such a beautiful way to approach fear. It's not about pretending it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's about acknowledging it, accepting it, and finding a way to move forward despite it.
Exactly. And for this musician, that meant starting small.
Okay.
He began by playing for close friends and family.
Yeah.
Then he moved on to open mic nights at local coffee shops.
Oh, wow.
Each performance, no matter how small the audience, helped him build his confidence and strengthen his resilience to fear.
It's like those exposure therapy techniques used to treat phobias.
Yeah.
By gradually exposing ourselves to the things we fear in small, manageable doses, we can desensitize ourselves to those fears and reclaim our power.
And as he continued to perform, something incredible happened.
Oh.
He realized that the audience wasn't there to judge him.
That's great.
They were there to connect, to be moved, to experience the beauty of his music.
Right.
And as he shifted his focus from fear of judgment to the joy of sharing his music, his performances transformed.
Wow.
He became more present, more authentic, more connected to his art and his audience.
That's such a beautiful example of how vulnerability can be a source of strength.
Yeah.
When we allow ourselves to be seen, imperfections and all, we create space for genuine connection and authentic expression.
And his story is a powerful reminder that we don't have to be perfect to be worthy of sharing our gifts with the world.
Right.
It's our imperfections that make us unique, that make us relatable, that allow us to connect with others on a deeper level.
It's about embracing our authentic selves and sharing our gifts, even if our voices shake a little.
Okay, so we've heard about a woman who transformed her career,
right,
and a musician who conquered his stage fright.
Right.
Now let's hear about an entrepreneur who turned her self-doubt into a driving force for success. This woman had a dream of starting her own business. But for years, she let fear and uncertainty hold her back.
Yeah.
She had all these amazing ideas, but she kept telling herself, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose everything?
It's so common for entrepreneurs to face those fears.
Right.
It takes a tremendous amount of courage to step outside the comfort of a steady paycheck and venture into the unknown world of entrepreneurship.
But this woman realized that she was tired of letting fear dictate her life.
Good for her.
She knew that if she didn't take a chance on herself, she would always wonder, what if?
Yeah.
And so she decided to take that leap of faith.
Okay.
She quit her job, invested her savings, and launched her own business.
That takes so much courage. It's like jumping off a cliff and trusting that you'll figure out how to fly on the way down.
And of course, there were challenges.
Right.
There were moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments where she questioned everything.
Yeah.
But instead of giving up, she used those challenges as fuel to learn and grow. She surrounded herself with a supportive network of mentors and fellow entrepreneurs. She sought out knowledge and resources to help her navigate the ups and downs of starting a business. And most importantly, she never lost sight of her vision.
It's so important to have a clear vision of what we're trying to create.
Right.
It's that vision that fuels our passion and keeps us going when things get tough.
Exactly. It's like having a compass that guides us through the storms and helps us stay on course, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. And for this entrepreneur, that unwavering belief in her vision ultimately led to success.
Wow, that's great.
Her business thrived, and she became a role model for other women who dreamed of starting their own companies.
It's so inspiring to see someone not only achieve their own dreams, but also pave the way for others to do the same.
It really is.
Yeah.
And her story is a powerful reminder that success is not a straight line.
Right.
There will be detours, roadblocks, and unexpected challenges along the way.
Yeah.
But it's how we navigate those challenges, how we learn and grow from them, that ultimately determines our success.
It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and trusting that we have the resilience and the resourcefulness to overcome any obstacle that comes our way.
These stories are so incredibly powerful and inspiring.
Yeah.
And what strikes me is that they all highlight the importance of taking action.
Right.
It's not enough to just think about overcoming self-doubt. We have to actually do something, even if it's just a small step.
You're absolutely right. It's in the doing that we build confidence, develop resilience, and ultimately create the lives we desire.
Yeah.
It's like that quote often attributed to Goethe, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do.
Love that. It's a perfect reminder that knowledge is only powerful when it's put into action. And sometimes the smallest actions can have the biggest impact.
Think about it like this. A tiny seed has the potential to grow into a mighty oak tree, but only if it's planted and nurtured.
That's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful reminder that we all have incredible potential within us.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to create the conditions for that potential to flourish.
Right.
And sometimes the most important thing we can do is to simply take that first step, even if it feels scary or uncertain.
It's about trusting that the path will unfold as we walk it.
Yeah.
And that even if we stumble or fall along the way, we have the strength to get back up and keep moving forward.
So we've heard about people who've transformed their careers, conquered their fears, and achieved their dreams by overcoming self-doubt and taking action.
Yeah.
But But I think it's important to acknowledge that this is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's not like we reach a point where we're suddenly free from self-doubt forever.
You're so right. Self-doubt is a natural part of the human experience. It's like a wave that ebbs and flows.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's barely noticeable, and other times it feels like it's going to sweep us away.
But the key is to learn how to ride those waves, how to navigate them without letting them drown us.
It's like becoming a surfer, learning to balance and maneuver on those waves of self-doubt instead of being tossed around by them.
Exactly.
And as we become more skilled at surfing those waves, we develop a greater sense of confidence and resilience. We learn to trust ourselves and our ability to handle whatever challenges come our way.
You know, something I've been thinking about is how our environment can impact our self-doubt.
Right.
I mean, if we're constantly surrounded by negativity or by people who put us down, it's going to be a lot harder to maintain a positive self-image, right?
Absolutely. Our environment can have a huge impact on our mental and emotional well-being. It's like trying to grow a delicate flower in a harsh and unforgiving climate.
Yeah.
It's going to be much harder for that flower to thrive if it's not getting the right nourishment and support.
So how can we create a more supportive environment for ourselves? One that helps us nurture our confidence and manage those waves of self-doubt.
It starts with becoming aware of the messages we're consuming and the people we're spending time with.
Okay.
Are they lifting us up or dragging us down?
Right.
Are they encouraging our growth or fueling our insecurities?
Yeah.
Once we have that awareness, we can start making conscious choices about where we direct our attention and energy.
So that might mean limiting our exposure to negative influences, whether it's social media, certain news sources, or even certain people.
Exactly. It's not about isolating ourselves, but about being mindful of the energy we're allowing into our lives.
Right.
It's about creating healthy boundaries and prioritizing our well-being.
And on the flip side, we can actively seek out positive influences that nurture our confidence and well-being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That might involve surrounding ourselves with supportive friends and mentors, reading inspiring books and articles, listening to uplifting podcasts, or engaging in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment.
It's like creating a garden of positivity in our lives, planting seeds of inspiration and nurturing them with care.
I love that imagery. It's about cultivating an environment that supports our growth and well-being, both internally and externally.
And, you know, as we're talking about creating a supportive environment, I think it's important to remember that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
We don't have to navigate this journey alone.
That's such a crucial point. We live in a culture that often glorifies independence and self-reliance.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we all need support, especially when we're facing challenges like self-doubt. Reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness.
Right. It takes courage to admit that we need support, and it's a powerful step toward healing and growth. And there are so many resources available to help us, whether it's a therapist, a coach, a supportive friend, or even online communities. There are people and resources out there who can provide guidance, encouragement, and a listening ear.
It's about remembering that we are not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
There are people who care about us and want to see us succeed. And sometimes all it takes is reaching out to someone we trust to get the support we need to move through those challenging moments.
So if you're struggling with self-doubt, please know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
There are people who care about you and want to help.
Right.
And there are tools and resources that can empower you to overcome these challenges and live a more fulfilling life. It's about remembering that you are worthy of love, support, and success.
And that you have the power within you to create the life you desire.
It's so empowering to remember that we have the power to choose our support systems and create environments that nurture our growth.
Absolutely. And speaking of growth, let's talk about how we can apply all of these amazing tools and strategies to specific areas of our lives where self-doubt often shows up.
You read my mind. Relationships, work, creative pursuits.
Yeah.
These are all areas where that inner critic can really try to take center stage.
Let's start with relationships.
Okay.
Self-doubt can show up as fear of rejection, insecurity about our worthiness of love, or even hesitation to express our needs and desires.
Yeah. It's like we're second-guessing ourselves before we even step onto the dance floor.
Exactly. And that hesitation can prevent us from experiencing the joy and fulfillment of deep, authentic connections.
So how can we silence that inner critic and approach relationships from a place of confidence and self-love?
One powerful practice is to remind ourselves that we are worthy of love and belonging just as we are. We don't have to be perfect or have it all figured out to deserve love and connection.
That's such a beautiful reminder.
Yeah.
It's about embracing our imperfections.
Right.
And recognizing that they're part of what makes us unique and lovable.
And it's about setting healthy boundaries.
Okay.
And communicating our needs assertively, even if it feels uncomfortable at first.
Right.
It's about honoring our own needs and desires while also being respectful of our partners.
It's like finding that sweet spot where we can be authentically ourselves without shrinking or compromising our values.
Now let's shift gears to the workplace.
Okay.
Self-doubt can really hold us back from achieving our full potential.
Oh, absolutely. It can keep us from applying for that dream job,
Yeah.
speaking up in meetings, or sharing our brilliant ideas.
And one of the most effective strategies for combating self-doubt at work is to focus on our strengths and accomplishments.
It's like creating a highlight reel of our career wins.
Yeah.
A reminder of all the amazing things we've achieved and all the challenges we've overcome.
Exactly. And when that inner critic starts whispering doubts, we can pull out that highlight reel and remind ourselves of our capabilities.
It's like having a secret weapon to combat those negative thoughts.
And another powerful tool is to reframe our perspective on mistakes.
Okay.
Instead of beating ourselves up over a misstep, we can view it as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. Every mistake is a chance to gain valuable insights and improve our skills.
It's like that saying, fail forward. We can use our mistakes as stepping stones to greater success.
And finally, don't be afraid to seek out feedback and support from trusted colleagues or mentors. Having a supportive network can make all the difference in navigating the challenges of the workplace.
It's like having a cheerleading squad to encourage us and help us stay focused on our goals.
Now, let's talk about creative pursuits.
Okay.
This is an area where self-doubt can be especially insidious.
Oh, for sure. That inner critic can be a real creativity killer.
Right.
Whispering doubts about our talent, our ideas, and our worthiness of expressing ourselves.
One of the most powerful antidotes to self-doubt in creative endeavors is to shift our focus from the outcome to the process.
It's about enjoying the journey of creation, the act of bringing something new into the world, rather than getting hung up on the end result.
Exactly. It's about giving ourselves permission to experiment, to play, to make mistakes, and to create without judgment.
It's like being a child again, lost in the joy of creation, without the pressure of perfection.
And another helpful strategy is to practice self-compassion in the face of criticism.
Right.
Remember, not everyone is going to appreciate or understand our creative expressions, and that's okay.
It's about recognizing that our art is a reflection of our unique perspective.
Yeah.
And that not everyone has to resonate with it.
And finally, remember that comparison is the thief of joy. It's so easy to get caught in the trap of comparing ourselves to other artists.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a recipe for self-doubt and discouragement.
Instead, focus on your own unique style and voice. Celebrate your progress no matter how small. And remember that every artist starts somewhere.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, exploring techniques, strategies, and inspiring stories from people who've learned to navigate the choppy waters of self-doubt. And the key takeaway is this. Self-doubt is a natural part of the human experience.
Right.
But it doesn't have to control us.
We have the power to choose courage over fear, action over inaction, and belief in ourselves over self-sabotage.
It's about recognizing that we are capable of amazing things. And that self-doubt is often just a temporary roadblock on the path to achieving our dreams.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one small, brave step you can take today to move past self-doubt and closer to your goals? What's one action you can take, no matter how small, to nurture your confidence, quiet that inner critic, and create a life that is aligned with your true potential?
Think about it. Write it down, and then take that step.
You might be surprised by what you can achieve when you choose to believe in yourself.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the incredible power within you.